Bit of a special one today. Due to the fact my son's just moved into his new house, needs a letterbox. So I'm going to make him a letterbox using a brick insert box, which we got from the Big Green Warehouse, and a whole heap of treated pine. Once painted, hopefully it'll match his garage door and look wonderful. Here we go. Here we have the 10 pieces we need for the two sides, cut at 900. I'm going to throw them in the clamps with a small bit of construction adhesive on there. In two batches of 5. Making sure the edges are all lined up as we go, and not gluing the two of them together. Done. Now with 6 of the boards cut together, I'm going to come up from the bottom 870, throw a square line across that, and then set at 22.5 degrees. An angle that'll match the pitch of his roof. Extend that line and hopefully, and it does, almost. Line will meet in the middle of the boards. So now, because I don't have a track saw like all the cool kids, I transfer the bevel angle onto a plasterer's square. Once I've transferred the angle and clamped that down, pull that piece out. This is all clamped down, so I'm ready to make the cut. Now the cut's made, I can then replace the guide bar, and that preserves the angle to make the other cuts. So the front and the back both get one on either side. At this point we've now got two sides, two pieces front and back, two pieces for the top, and four pieces that are going to connect it to the ground. So it's time to start putting it all together. Before I put it together, I realised it's going to be easier to cut the hole for the actual mailbox now rather than when it's all put together. So I'm going to do that next before I put them together. Now with the side secured in the vise and onto the bench, we put the top onto its position. Then we'll glue and screw those two components together. Then repeat for the other three sides. Just a little tip I picked up the other day while spending idle time on YouTube. If you take a drinking straw, cut the end off it, makes a good implement for removing excess glue from little tight corners like so. Just like that. Job done. And another one. Common playing cards make a great way of shimming up something to get it square or level if all your components are not the right size. Infinitely variable to the width of one card. So, a little bit of look before you leap. My nice precise hole to take the sleeve fits beautifully. What doesn't fit is the outside edge. We'll have to adjust that hole before it'll fit. With the kit that I've got to make the actual letterbox itself, comes in two components, the front which sleeves into the rear. Before I put the lid on, I've got to make sure that those fit in nice and flush and square, as they do. Then I can drill them, and when it comes to put the whole thing together, the drill holes will line up so that I can rivet it from the inside through the letterbox there. Hopefully. When I've got to clamp out something a little bit delicate, like the painted surface on these pieces, I find that these little 25 by 25 mil felt squares, dirt cheap, and they make great little surface guard. Well, that's what they're called. Look at that. So you don't damage your surfaces when you put the clamps on, like so. So next steps to pop the lid on, exactly the same as we've done before. Line of glue, line of screws, all the same thing. That's obviously cut at the angle so that they'll match up together. I may put a little bit of flashing across there, may let the glue do its work. We'll see when it's done. To fill in all the screw holes, I usually use a bit of builder's bog. Yeah, it's gone off. So I'm going to use a little bit of automotive filler. Once painted, no one will know the difference. And we're nearly there. Sanded and painted. It's got it now with the sleeve inserted from both sides. Holes have lined up. And a trusty pop rivet. that should do it. A few more of those and nearly ready. And that's it. Numbers are on and ready to be delivered. Another project finished. Don't bother subscribing. Get out in your shed and do some work.